we have here is the Ghenevny class destroyer, a ship designed by the Italians, built by the Russians and sold to the Chinese.
In World of Warships, it's a tier 5, which is about right for historical accuracy. And that's until you realise what it's up against. The Nicholas and the Minakaze.
And right there lies the problem. The American destroyers are fantastic gunboats. The Japanese are awesome torpedo boats. And well, the Ghenevny, at least on the face of it, appears to be neither of those.
So why do I like it so much? And more importantly, why should you buy one?
To begin to answer that question, we have to look at the ship's history. At the end of World War I, Russia was broke. The war with the Central Powers had cost the country greatly. The Russian Revolution had overthrown the imperial government, caused the abdication of Nicholas II, and marked the beginning of the Russian Civil War. It wasn't until the early 1930s that the Soviets felt able to replace their absolutely historic naval fleet under the second five-year plan. Despite ideological differences, the Soviet Navy hired an Italian design team to lay down plans to build a high-speed, heavily armed destroyer capable of competing with its Western European counterparts. What the Italians had designed was Project 7. It was a futuristic design in comparison to the Soviets' previous and now very much outdated destroyers. And with 4 130mm main guns, it packed a punch too. They weren't without their faults though. All Ghenevny class destroyers suffered some sort of structural weakness which limited their seaworthiness, and significant machinery problems plagued the early ships. In the end, only 30 were ever made. However, a modified design, codenamed the 7U, would go on to become the Zubrazhny class destroyer. With all this in mind, the Ghenevny's role in World War II was to escort and to lay mines. After the war, of the ones that survived, 4 were sold to China and the rest were scrapped. Of those 4, 2 ships, the Rekordny and the Retny, can be found in Chinese museums. So, what's this thing like to captain, I hear you ask?
Well, it's fast. I mean, really fast. With flags and engine boost, it's capable of 43 knots. It stops on a dime too.
Its hit points are good too, best in class in fact for tier 5, and its torpedo damage matches that of the Minakaze. But that, on paper at least, is where the good news ends. Its turning circle is rubbish, and its rudder shift time puts it on par with cruisers.
Oh no. This is just dreadful. I appear to have crashed into an island. No matter. This will give me excellent chance to check out the Ghenevny's anti-air capabilities. It appears my AA crews have been on the Blind Russians again. Can't believe this. I've got the Battle of the Bismarck Sea flying overhead, and you knuckleheads haven't shot a single one down. Utterly astonishing.
And it gets worse.
The detection range is the largest of any of the Tier 5 destroyers.
So the first time you see an enemy destroyer, you can feel safe only in the fact that he spotted you first.
And I'm just about to talk this enemy carrier.
Because of the 7km detection range,
I've been spotted for well over a minute now.
and the enemy cruisers have all turned around and are coming for me.
In a Minikaze, I could have been busy told them. In a Nicholas, I could have gunned in, dropped torps at 5.5 kilometers, and then smoke screened into safety. But in this, well, just look at it. It's chaos. I suppose the saving grace for these torpedoes is the 65km/h speed.
But at 4km or less, you'll do well to miss the target. So what we have here can't really be called a destroyer. It became pretty clear to me very early on that you shouldn't drive it like a destroyer either, and it's probably better suited to the role of a light cruiser.
The 430mm guns fire around every, 4.5 seconds up to a range of 11.9 kilometers.
So while your enemy might land the occasional well-aimed shot, you can keep chipping away at his health like a woodpecker at a tree.
Unlike most destroyers where the Tukey gathers dust during a battle, the AP shells on the Gnevny are a viable choice. Look! Citadel hits!
So what we have here is the Thinking Man's destroyer, one that requires patience and cunning. It has a playstyle that doesn't feel like any other ship in the game.
It's not a gunboat, it's not a silent killer, it's not even a knife fighter.
But by not being any of the normal destroyers, it somehow becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Sure, you might do more damage in the Minikaze, get into more exciting gunfights in the Nicholas, but you'll never have that inexplicable pleasure of doing well in the Gnevny.